If you haven't managed to actually get your blueberries pruned, then now is the perfect time to do this, and we really want to do it before the end of March. These are the blueberry bushes we've been doing in the grow along. So we have quite young plants, so we're not going to be doing a really hard prune or anything like that. If you do have more mature plants, then I have gone over how to deal with these and look after them in a video last year. So just let me know in the comments if you'd like the link for that. And if you haven't actually got any blueberries planted and it's something that you do eat, these are really low maintenance, very easy to grow and grow very well in pots. So I would encourage you, and kids love them as well, to pick up some plants and have a look at video 1 to how we look after them and what soil and things like that that they need in order to thrive. This is the first of the blueberries that we're looking at today. So these are the ones that we started in the grow along. This particular one is a variety called Patriot, and they are growing in pots because they need the ericaceous compost. So depending where you live, you may find that they grow better in pots. This year on this one, I'm happy that it's not root bound in the pots. It's not coming out the bottom. It doesn't look like it's suffering in any way. I do obviously need to weed it, and then I need to add a layer of food. And feeding it will be either adding a layer of compost, so that's what I'm going to be doing today, so ericaceous compost, or you could also add a liquid feed if that's what you have. And then we're going to be looking at trimming, so we need to remove any dead, diseased or damaged growth, any that are crossing, or any that really just don't look like they're doing very well or could cause an issue with the structure of the plant. So we've got one here that's crossing over, so we need to decide which of those two we're going to remove. Keeping them trimmed correctly is obviously going to help us to have as much fruit off of them as we can over the years. So these buds here at the end are actually the fruit buds, and then further down the buds are the leaf buds. So there is actually very, very tiny, if you can quite see that, tiny little flowers already forming on here as well. So this is definitely a job that we want to get done now. So the very first thing I'm going to do is remove any tips of the plant with a pair of secateurs that are no longer growing, so they're dead, and take them down to a bud that is growing. Once that's done, our next job is to look at the structure of the plant and make sure that we don't have the crossing over like we have here that's going to be rubbing. So this is a younger shoot, so I'm just going to take this one back down there, and that's going to stop that having that issue. And then I've got the same going on down here where I've got an entire branch here or just a little bit there. So I'm going to take that one back down and stop it growing that way. Exactly the same with this one, just to keep an open structure and encourage growth outwards from that. Then next I'm going to have a look at weeding these. So there's lots of seedlings in here, there's lots of leaves. The leaves are great as a sort of winter mulch, so I'm not overly worried about them. I'm just really thinking about any of these seeds here that have grown weeds that are likely to continue spreading. So I'm going to leave in things like the wild violets, but remove this willow herb because I don't want that to spread everywhere. And they'll just go into the compost. Now I can see there's lots of little crawlies going on. And then further round, I've got a dandelion as well to take out. I'm trying not to disturb the roots too much, so I've just broken that root off at the bottom, so that's fine. And then I'm actually going to leave pretty much the rest here. So a lot of these will be wild violet seeds, and they work as a fantastic mulch, so I don't want to remove all of those. Anything that does grow in the next couple of weeks that I don't want in here, I'll just remove then. But otherwise, I'm just going to top this up with some more compost. And I'm just going to top the pot off now with some fresh ericaceous compost. All those wild violets will still push through this and continue to offer a mulch But for now, that's all I'm needing to do. And I won't be offering any liquid feed to this because I have done this, so I won't offer any till later in the year. But being in pots rather than in the ground, it is going to want a little bit more feed than it would otherwise. There we go, that's the first pot done. This is the second bush that I'm also going to be trimming today, that's also in a pot. This one actually arrived incorrectly, so the wrong variety, when I ordered the other one, so it's a variety called Ruble. It's a little bit bigger and a little bit more mature, but it still does just want that little bit of attention and any dead bits, which there isn't too much, but it is actually crossing a bit more, so we're going to need to remove a bit more in that respect. I do keep these netted from birds, so it is holding it in a little bit more than I'd like and causing some of that issue with that crossing. So I'm going to go ahead and do exactly the same, where remove any dead or old growth, and then we will have a look afterwards at how we're going to open the plant up. So starting at the top, I'm just going to find any dead or damaged and start removing them first. That's all the bits that I need to remove off of the ends, but I just want to show you. So I've got a really young stem here that's coming up from the base, and then we've got these two older stems. So this one's coming off of the main stem, but this one's coming out of the bottom. So this one will take over production from these at some point. We'll continue to see more of these coming out, and that is the new growth that will produce fruit in the years to come. And we will remove some of these older growths later on when they're a little bit older and they're not producing as well for us. So at the moment we just want to really concentrate on where is crossing over and where's rubbing. We don't want that rubbing to occur, because that's when we can start finding issues with disease. So this one's here's rubbing. I'm going to take that back to that stem there. And then this new growth here is rubbing against this old growth. So I'm going to take this little shoot off here. We don't want to remove too much, especially at this stage, because we'll lose some of the fruit. So it is really a matter of just going in carefully and slowly removing it until you're happy. I'm going to remove this one here up to this bud, because the bud's going outwards. So that should encourage growth outwards now. So I'm happy with that lower growth, and I'm now starting to think about this growth a little bit higher up. So we've got lots here that are coming together. If these weren't being netted, then they would be far more open than they are. So that is part of the issue here, but it's just the reality that I need in order to save any, because the birds will have them all. So I'm going to remove that one that's going inwards. We're really aiming to take no more than sort of 20% off of the bush, but there are periods where you may find that you have to take that a little bit more, and it will produce less initially, but it will help in the long run. So this entire branch here is going inwards, so I'm going to take that one right back, and that's going to undo a lot of those crossings. And then I got the same here. So one of these two, this one looks like it's going to be a bit more productive, so I'm going to take this shoot down, and then I can continue taking some off as I need to next year as well. So we don't need to do it all in this year, we just don't want them crossing and rubbing at this point. That's those two done now and sorted for another year. So the Patriot variety has got buds on, but the other one is that little bit further behind, and they do produce that little bit later. But as we've talked about in the previous grow alongs, it's really good to have 2 or 3 bushes in order to make sure that you get plenty of berries.